Hello, peeps and creeps, and welcome to Fright Club. I'm Gav, he's Danny.
Hello.
We're the Fright Club NI, and this is a brand new episode of Monday Night Frights. And on tonight's show, we're talking about us. Not us. We.
Who?
Us. Who?
Where? When?
Who knows?
Why?
It's Jordan Peele's Us. And we're back with episode 4.12 of Monday Night Frights, talking about Jordan Peele's Us. As you can see, we're being joined by a very special guest tonight. Yes. He is a local filmmaker and host of the Mooncat podcast. It is Mr. Adam Neeson. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
Thanks for having me again.
What's the problem, mate?
No problem, man. We had you on season 2 for the Evil Dead 2 episode, yes, which was a fantastic episode. And then we did want to get you back on for Army of Darkness, but schedules didn't work out. We were so busy and couldn't match up. So we did say that we were definitely going to get you on for another episode this season, and here you are. So thanks for joining us.
With us?
With us, yes. Ironic, isn't it? It's hilarious that you're on with us and we're talking about us. So how's things anyway? How's everything going?
All good. Currently in the middle of production on Lazarus Syndrome. Short I'm working on, I've been working on for ages, but we're finally filming, and it's all going good, touch wood.
Happy days, man. Yeah, I've seen that you put up did you put up a wee teaser image or a couple images of filming?
We went up to Cave Hill to film some stuff, and when we were at the bottom of Cave Hill it was beautiful and sunny, and when we got to the top of Cave Hill it was a monsoon. So
classic Northern Ireland weather there for you.
Typical here weather, yep.
Belfast weather.
You see, it's about the character, the growth, and the
exactly. It was exactly. No, that's good, man. That's good to hear. I can't wait to see more teasers, and
Can you tell us much about it, or do we have to wait and see?
I'll just say it's a
horror movie.
It's a real spooky one.
It's about scary stuff.
Recorded on celluloid. It is my take on The Exorcist mixed with a bit of political commentary, which we'll get into with us, on the Me Too movement.
Okay. Intrigued. Color me intrigued.
You know me, a white man, of course, yes, full of white privilege.
100%.
Me Too movement.
Exactly. I mean, you're right for writing something like this. Of course you were. But anyway, am I allowed to say, Adam, that I've read the script?
Yes. Yeah.
I have read the script, and it was very, very good, and I'm really looking forward to it. And so go and follow Adam on Twitter and Instagram, and follow Mooncat Productions on Instagram.
I don't know, something like that. There's never really much on it.
Just search. Follow us. We'll tag him, and then you can find him through us, and then you can find out what the Lazarus Syndrome is all about.
And if you want to help finance the movie, just Mooncat on OnlyFans.
Yeah. We were going to do OnlyFans, but we decided to stop that because they cut all the nudes. So we were like, no, we're going to move to Fansly.
You're right.
Yeah.
Or have a really special X-rated Patreon. We'll see. But yeah, anybody wants to give Adam money for his film, please do so. And anybody wants to give us money, do that as well. That'd be great.
$10 a month, get all the ditties you need.
Go buy T-shirts, so that we can sell out over T-shirts and give us money. And yeah,
money for everyone.
We'll show you our ditties.
Ditties count.
Ditty count. Yeah.
No ditty counts today, though, boys.
No. This is a serious film.
This is a very serious film, and
it's going to be a very serious episode as well. We're going to talk about a lot of serious things. We are talking about Jordan Peele's difficult second movie, Us, which was written and directed by Jordan Peele, and it was released in 2019. Before we get into Us, we'll talk a little bit about Get Out, which obviously was a massive success and a huge movie for Jordan Peele, and just a huge movie for horror in general. It was one of those films that kind of it wasn't really labeled a horror. It was weird. It was sort of like, oh, it was a horror thriller. It's more of a thriller. You know, people didn't like to call it a horror, but at the end of the day, it was a horror movie. And, you know, it tackled a lot of difficult themes and stuff about race. And, you know, there's been a lot said about Get Out, so we'll not go really deep in the weeds. There's maybe been too much written about it, and it's been overanalyzed to death over the past few years. But just really quickly, what did you guys think of Get Out? Danny, you go first.
Loved it. I loved it. I think for me, first time seeing the both of them, I think I preferred Get Out more, but having rewatched Us for this, I'm starting to kind of sway more towards Us.
Me too.
But I'm really like, again, anything Jordan Peele kind of touches, I'm like, give me more. And I'm really excited for his next film. Nope. Yeah, I'm really excited for Nope. Even the poster for Nope intrigues me so much, because you're just like, what does this mean?
We'll
Like,
talk. Yeah, I had that at the very end. I was like, we'll talk about that and talk about some of our theories on Nope, because it's released next year, isn't it? Next summer.
Mm-hmm.
So we will talk about that a little bit and what we maybe think that he might have planned for that film. But Adam, what was your thoughts on Get Out?
The first time I seen Get Out, I actually hated it. We had a friend over from England, and they sat beside me the whole time, just being like, "Did you notice that black mold? That'll come back later. Did you see the deer head? Do you notice that?" And I was just like, "Shut up, please." So about a year later, maybe like a few months before Us came out, I was like, "I'll give this a go," and then realized that it's brilliant. I think all performances are great. It's great seeing Daniel Kaluuya as the lead, because it was the same year as Black Panther. No, Us is the same year as Black Panther, isn't it?
Yeah, Us was the same year as Black Panther.
And seeing him in that, you're like, can you act? But seeing him in Get Out and was it the Black Messiah? Came out last year.
Yes.
It's like, you're a fantastic actor, and he's in Nope as well. So hopefully his star will rise, but he's fantastic.
Yeah. What was it? Was he in Skins, or he was in something? One of those BBC.
Was he not in? Was he in Attack the Block as well? Was he one of the ones in Attack the Block? No.
Nah.
He was in Psychoville.
Psychoville. I knew he was in some sort of BBC thing, and obviously he's went on to, you know, I mean, he's been Oscar nominated, and he's won. He was up for I think he won a BAFTA, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And he didn't win the Oscar, did he?
No.
I just said did he there. So that's the first. That's the first did he count. Yo! No, but I mean, a fantastic actor, absolutely amazing actor. And yeah, all, you know, worthy of all the praise, I think, from Get Out and from that, you know, the other movie that you mentioned there. I haven't seen that other one, but I know it's on Amazon. I'll have to check it out. And I think he's good in. Have you ever seen Widows as well?
Yes.
Steve McQueen film.
Yeah.
He sort of plays a side character in that. He's not the main, and he's a bit of a villain in it, but he's quite good in that. He's really gritty performance in that. So yeah, fantastic actor. Always up for seeing him in any movie. But you know, I'm really excited to see what he does with Jordan Peele next. So anyway, we'll not talk much about Get Out. I loved it as well, by the way. Fucking brilliant movie. We're here to talk about the second movie, the difficult second movie. You know, Get Out was such a success that Jordan Peele had a real tough, you know, you knew he was going to have a tough time with this movie. But this was an even bigger success. It's weird because he's known for being a comedy actor, comedy presenter, and you know, a comedy writer. He's come from a comedy background, and so he was getting obviously a lot of criticism about why is this guy doing horror? Like surely he can't do it again. Get Out must be just a sort of a one-trick pony, but he proved all the naysayers wrong. Because Us, I think, I prefer Us. I was, Danny, like you, I was saying, you know, the first time I seen Get Out and the first time I seen Us, I thought Get Out was the better film. Maybe I need to rewatch Get Out again, but I fucking loved Us. Like, I only rewatched it for the second time 2 days ago in preparation for this, and I forgot how fucking amazing it was. What a fucking film this is. So good.
Great movie. I love, because my introduction to Peele was through Key and Peele, the sketch show.
Yeah.
And then Keanu, the movie with the cat, Keanu. So yeah, I knew him as that kind of comedy writer, actor, and it's so good. It's the sketch in Key and Peele with they're on the plane and there are two guys looking out for Terry's. We're going to Drex them scallops, and it just kills me every time I think about it. But then, yeah, when you hear, oh, he's going into horror, and I was just kind of like, okay. But again, there's so many actors, like comedy actors and stuff, who do horror really well. Robin Williams, you know, he did some amazing thrillers, and it's just, you know, I would love to see somebody like, I don't know, Will Ferrell, if Will Ferrell ever turned his hand to horror.
Yeah, that's
maybe do some. Jim Carrey
I was going to say,
did it, but you know, maybe not the most powerful example. But Jordan Peele, I mean, it's very obvious how much he loves horror and thrillers. You know, you see all the references in his work, and you know, the Twilight Zone stuff he did. He's absolutely obsessed with it all, and I think that's what makes him so good for the genre as well. And he has a lot to say. He has a lot to say. His commentary
does. I mean, I always think that if you're a good writer, you know, in one genre, you're generally, if you know how to write well, it doesn't matter what genre you write for. I know that doesn't always work, and you can be better in one and worse in the other. But I think generally, if you're good at your job and you've got something to say, it doesn't really matter what genre you go to. And I think comedy and horror are kind of, in many ways, two sides of the same coin, because you know, while one makes you laugh, the other makes you sort of shit yourself. They're both reaction genres, if you know what I mean. And he knows how to get reactions out of people. Keanu's, a lot of people didn't like it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so over the top, and I really enjoyed it. And you know, Key and Peele, I haven't seen a lot of their stuff. I've seen a few sketches. Everything that I've seen is fantastic. And you know, just a funny dude.
I think it's important with like horror as well, is you do get that bit of balance of comedy, because I think there's quite a few wee funny moments in Us and Get Out, and there's just wee sprinkles of comedy throughout it that just, you know, distract you from the horror and the threat of what's going on. And I think that's when it comes to some of our favorite horror movies that we've talked about. I mean, even Evil Dead 2 that you're on with us, Adam, you know, the humor in there, contrasted to the gore and the horror of the Deadites. You know, I think that horror and comedy sometimes need to go hand in hand. Otherwise, it's just too serious and too dark, and we don't necessarily always want to be too frightened.
No, I think that Us is definitely more of a horror movie than Get Out is. Well, it's in terms of conventional horror, you know, it follows a more conventional structure, the screenplay and the pace of the film and all. Yeah, but it is, you know, there's some really funny bits in it. So Jordan Peele, he grew up in New York, and he's, you know, his mother is white. So it's weird how so many people on social media after Get Out was like, oh, he's a racist, and you know, he hates white people and all this stuff, and you're just like, fuck up. But anyway, he described himself as an introvert, as a young man growing up in New York, who was a big fan of horror and science fiction. Does that sound familiar, lads? Because that fucking sounds just like me. I don't know about you guys, but you know, I would have considered myself a little bit of an introvert growing up, and obviously I love my horror and science fiction, and that's why we're here today. But yeah, so Us is just such an amazing film, and it's definitely more of a horror film than Get Out is. And yes, it's got themes and social commentary, which I'm sure we'll dive into, but it tells it in a more conventional way through the horror genre. For anybody that hasn't seen it, it's about a family called Adelaide Wilson is her name, is Lupita Nyong'o, who's fucking amazing. I love her. And Winston plays the husband. He's fucking brilliant in this too. And they have two kids, so they basically go to a vacation home on the beach at Santa Cruz, and what looks like a home invasion movie starts to turn into something very different when they realize that the people that are attacking their home are mirror images of themselves. Ooh, spooky.
Man, that twist the first time, because I didn't really know much about Us going into it. So as you say, home invasion, I was kind of like, okay. And then whenever you get the reveal, I was kind of like, oh, and it's not even like that's the first twist in the film.
There's a few more coming, but
there's a few more coming. But
the trailer, like, when I didn't read much about the film, I don't know if there was much information about the film before the trailer came out. But what was your reaction, Adam, when you first saw the trailer?
It's a trailer. At that point in time, before pre-pandemic, I was in the cinema 2-3 times a week, and that trailer showed every single time in front of every single movie.
Right.
And I was like, there's only so many times I can listen to I've Got Five on it without just getting annoyed. But I was looking forward to it because I thought it's an interesting idea, and I wanted to see, it's a trailer that's like, here's a mystery, and we're not going to show you anything else. Even the promotional posters before the trailer came out was like Rorschach tests.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And people like Bloody Disgusted and stuff were all sent those scissors to be like, the trailer's coming out. So you're kind of like, what the fuck is this? But watching the trailer, I did get excited for it. It was definitely one of those things that I was like, I really want to see this. Especially after just recently enjoying Get Out and being like, this Jordan Peele guy's got something about him.
Yeah, he might have something here, Jordan Peele. He might be someone to look after, like he might be someone to look out for.
How could you get fed up of Got Five on it, especially that version of Got Five? That was the thing that really drew me in the first time I seen the trailer, was just that kind of slow strings version of Got Five on it, that boom, boom, just that opening bit, and I immediately was like, what? And it's one thing as well that when Candyman came out, I know Peele didn't direct, but he produced on it, and they had that slowed down version of Say My Name. And I was just like, oh, here we go again. Like, just, orchestral slow versions of hip hop songs. Give me more, please.
It is a wee bit of a trope, I suppose, now in modern days trailers, where they, especially more darker movies, maybe not just horror, but thrillers and stuff like that, especially darker superhero movies, they do tend to play popular songs slowed down to make it more grittier. So it is a wee bit of a trope, but I think it really worked for this trailer, and it really works in the film as well towards the end.
Yep.
Of that climax at the end of it. I believe the mix is called the tethered mix, which I'm sure whenever people seen that, they were like, what the fuck does tethered, what does that mean in the grand scale of the movie? Like, obviously you find out what it is because it's about doppelgängers. It's about the doppelgängers. Anything about doppelgängers, I fucking love. I love that. I love the uncanny or the other. I love that whole sort of mirror image, and it's been done quite a lot in movies over the years, way back to fucking
all the way back to Star Trek.
Aye, because go back a little bit further.
Not even further than that. I'm just thinking Mirrorverse, Star Trek,
Carnival of Souls, and you can look into a lot of different things about the uncanny, and I just love that whole thing. But especially doppelgangers, so very scary, like very very scary.
Even the song itself, I Got Five on it, is a double sort of thing, because if I've got five on it and you've got five on it, then it's two people together.
Oh, there you go. Huh? Doppelgangers.
That's either the screenwriter in me coming out or the drug dealer. One of the two.
Yeah, because it's about drugs. Don't do drugs.
It's not about drugs. Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. So, budget time, Danny and Adam.
Give us some figures.
I know everybody loves the budget.
Drop them figures.
It was made for about 20 million. So it's a decent amount of money actually, and it's a very well made movie in terms of like scale. It's quite confined for a lot of it, but because it's not a massive cast, really, for most of the movie, it's kind of just about the family.
It's probably all the fairground.
It's exactly. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of extras and stuff, and the hands across America and all that. There is extras and stuff down in the tunnel, but generally, it's just about the family and about their tethered cells. But it made an amazing 255 million at the box office worldwide. Excuse me. There was a lot of marketing put into this as well. I think there's about 70 million towards marketing, which obviously helped the box office. So, and also it was inspired hugely by, you mentioned it earlier, Danny, Jordan Peele, we know, was a massive fan of the Twilight Zone. His production company is called Monkey Paw, for fuck's sake. So he's a massive fan of the Twilight Zone, and this was inspired by a Twilight Zone episode called Mirror Image.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the opening animation for the monkey paw, like opening credit, is going through the train, and you see all the different references to Twilight Zone, and then the wee monkey paw stirring the cup, which again is a reference to Get Out, which is wonderful.
But what is it he calls it when he stirs the thing and he goes into the
Sunken Place?
Sunken Place, that's the one, yeah.
I always thought that the monkey paw was a Simpsons reference, but sure.
I know. Because they made that up. Where did they get that from?
I love that. Have we again? I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the thing where we get sidetracked. We go off and get sidetracked. Have you watched the Lego Star Wars Tales of Terror yet?
Not yet. No.
One of the shorts in it is called The Wookiee's Paw.
No way.
And it's the monkey's paw, but with the Wookiee paw. Yeah. I just thought about that because it was one of those moments. So when it happened, I was like, oh. It's class. You should check out one of the other shorts is based on Lost Boys as well. So highly recommend Lego Star Wars Tales of Terror. Streaming now on Disney Plus. Not a sponsor yet.
No. Give us that Disney money. Come on. So we can retire. So yes, Twilight Zone. And I said, was it last week or the week before? That basically everything that exists now is inspired by the Twilight Zone. It's some sort of inspiration from something.
It had to be one of our Simpsons or Treehouse of Horror episodes. Made reference.
I don't know. I can't remember, but it was something. Everything we talk about is inspired by the Twilight Zone. But so, moving on swiftly on, it was also inspired by a daydream that Jordan Peele had, which I didn't know about that. I knew it was Twilight Zone related, but when he was 16 or something or 17, he would commute to work on the train, and he was coming out of a tunnel, and he came out of a tunnel. It was like two sort of subways. One at one side of the road, one at the other, as usual. And he came out of one and he stopped and he looked over at the other one and he seen himself at the other side of the road in the tunnel. And he said that he knew it was a daydream. Like he obviously it wasn't real, but that's when the idea clicked with him about the other, or you have there's a tethered version of yourself. What would happen if there was another version of you living the same life? And he said that always stuck with him, through his 20s and stuff, and he was able to bring it out in this script.
Is it not said in sort of like folklore, and everywhere kind of has their own folklore, but is it not that if you do see your own doppelganger, you're supposed to kill them because they'll kill you? Is that not a thing? Is that not a thing with doppelgangers? You're supposed to, which again, I'm kind of, is there that influence on it? Is that there that idea of doppelganger folklore that if they don't get you, you got to get them?
Yeah, that sounds plausible. I'm sure in certain other doppelganger type movies that that is, if you have to take, because it can only be one of you exist.
There can be only one.
There can be only one. Don't know why I did that with a German accent, but anyway. So it debuted at South by Southwest in 2019, March 2019. I think production was between July and October, and then it debuted in March. So I think the trailer came out in December. I'm not sure. I'm a bit fuzzy on the dates, but it made more money than Get Out, and it was actually, I didn't know this, but it had the best ever opening for a horror film not based on a previous IP.
Oh.
That's mental. That doesn't even seem real to me, but it is. Yeah, well, according to Wikipedia. And maybe
a reliable source.
I know that's surely that 100% is truth. That's the gospel.
Jordan Peele was sitting
edited by J. Peele. I know. So I was unaware of that, but yeah, it had one of the best openings for a horror movie, or for an original horror movie, and I think it fell down a good bit in week 2, week 3, blah blah blah. Whereas Get Out kind of got better, I think, or stayed around the same. And we probably will do a lot of comparisons to Get Out. I think that's really unfair about this movie, is that it does seem to get compared. You can't mention it without saying, "Oh, did you prefer this or did you prefer Get Out?" And that's a bit unfair, I think, because they are different movies.
Yeah.
But a lot of misguided people seems to feel like it's just the same shit.
It's just a pale name being on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Really but I think it's really quite clever. They came out not too long after each other, so everybody was hyped then for us coming out. But the fact that he's kind of left it a good wee while now before the next one comes out, I think is quite smart because everyone would have probably got fed up if he just churned one out every year.
Well, he did the Twilight Zone, didn't he? And then
yeah,
he produced a lot of stuff, Candyman, and he's done he's done quite a lot of other stuff.
Lovecraft Country is quite good.
Yes,
Lovecraft Country, that was it.
Of course, and he was also in Toy Story 4.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, was that before? That was surely before this. So 2019.
See, I was trying to remember
because that was definitely before 2019.
When I was watching this, I was thinking, you know, at the opening when the dad's trying to win the prize, he's trying to win the Thriller T-shirt, and there's people walking past, and the first one I seen was just the wee ducky legs hanging, and I was like, is that a Toy Story 4 reference because he voices Ducky? But then I had to remember it's actually Keegan-Michael Key voices Ducky, and he voices Rabbit. So
could still be
there'll be maybe some sort of subtle nod to his Toy Story involvement.
This whole film is just an homage, a tribute to, you know, some of his favorite films growing up. Like, you see it in every couple of scenes. Obviously, you get the opening. You know, you have the Lost Boys reference. You know, you have reference to The Shining through this. A couple of references to The Shining. You've got lots of references. You know, the Jaws reference. What else is there? You know, the little boy's called Jason, and he's always wearing a mask. Yeah. So, you know, that's obviously a reference to Friday the 13th. And then there's a few other, you know, there's loads of references to different films in this.
I even references, but I just love the, you know, the kind of name drop stuff like Home Alone and stuff like that. When they mention Home Alone, and I was just like, and then the kids go, "What's Home Alone?" I'm like, but yeah, there's some fantastic moments throughout this whole thing. And reference, as I said at the start, Peele's just a big old movie TV nerd like us boys.
Like I love the opening, the cold opening to it, where they're on the Santa Cruz beach, and you know, 1986, which is the year that Lost Boys was filming, and they do that thing where it's like, oh, they're filming a film over there beside the carousel, maybe they need extras. Like, fuck, just a wee throwaway line, but I just love that. And I mean, that opening to Lost Boys is one of the greatest openings ever as well. So I love that he did that kind of as an homage to the Lost Boys, which is one of my favorite horror movies. And then we get the House of Mirrors as well, which mirrors are just terrifying.
Vision Quest.
I know.
Vision Quest that they decide to unculturally appropriate later in the film, which I think again is a wonderful, just a wee detail that probably would have just gone amiss, but it's just again that kind of social commentary, even by changing the name of the ride and the picture on the ride and stuff. I was just like, class.
Yeah, because it's a Native American, isn't it? What is it?
Yeah.
At the end,
it's Vision Quest, and then it turns to Forest.
The Forest Quest. Yes, it's the Forest one.
Yeah.
What's the image though of?
It's a Native American, and then it's a wizard.
A wizard. That's it. Wizard. Yes, of course. But it's, you know, there's so many references in this. What other references? There must be more. Have I written some down?
There's videotapes of Chud.
Chud, yeah.
And the right stuff.
Aye, that's right. Yeah, Chud. Chud was the other one I'd written down because it's about like mutants coming up from the sewer, isn't it? It's kind of a
cannibalistic humanoids, underground dwellers.
Yeah, underground dwellers. Yeah, that's what they're called. Which is, you know, obviously foreshadowing the end of this film. But as well, and this was another little fact. I don't know, Adam, if you've written down some facts, but Jordan Peele's first girlfriend was the daughter of the director of Chud.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, aren't they?
There you go. There's a little fact that I'm sure 99% of people watching this already know, but I didn't, so I thought I'd just say it there.
I have my fun fact in the barrel just ready to when you want it.
Do you want to throw it out now, or do you want to wait to the right moment?
I'll wait to the right moment.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Just put your hand up. If we're talking shite, just put your hand up. And
just stop us.
We'll let you drop your fun fact. Yeah.
I'll have you know.
So, right, lads, let's get a bit deep now. So we spoke about what the film was about. You know, doppelgängers attacking the Wilson family, and I love how you think it's just them, and then when you go to the friend's house, you realize, hang on, they've got fucking doppelgängers as well, and then that's when everything opens up and you realize it's the whole world basically, or America, sorry. But what is the film really about? I'm putting you on the spot there, lads. What do you think the film's about? What, you know, we know Get Out is about race and about white privilege, about old America and white privilege, and that idea that old white men are privileged and feel like they deserve what black people have, so they physically take out them essentially. What's us about? It's not about race, but it's about class.
I would say that Get Out is about the Obama era of his presidential run, and Us is about the Trump era of his presidential run. Of you don't know what people are like behind closed doors. Everybody has another side to them. Excuse me. Everybody has something that they're hiding down below. This way, it's quite literally. And even when it's Adelaide and her doppelganger's red, spoilers obviously, but Adelaide is the evil doppelganger, and she seemingly lived this life and birthed two children without anybody realizing that she is actually a monster. And I don't know if red is also an American reference to like the red states. Could possibly be, but I'm not too sure. But that's what I
political. Is you said that Adelaide was the monster, but is she really a monster? Because they
nature, nurture.
yeah, well, exactly. We're getting in this whole argument again, but they explain at the end that they were the tethered or sort of clones that were left to wither away and essentially just be forgotten about, basically. But it's interesting that you said that, because I love that you said that was about the Trump era of America, because it is. I think the film is about America, and it's it's the fear of the unknown, or more so the fear of the other. I don't know you, so I don't know anything about you, and that means I should be scared of you, and that's kind of the idea, and that's kind of in a horrible way, that's what a lot of America is built on, because of a lot of people in America are just scared, man. They're so scared of everything. That's why they've all got guns, and that's why they've not all of them, obviously. I'm generalizing here a little bit, but they've been brought up in this fear of, I don't know you, so I'm scared of you. You could potentially be an enemy of mine, so I have to have guns in my house. I have to protect me, and there's a good thing to that as well, but we've seen it over the years. Like it's mostly negative stuff that happens because of how they've kind of been brought up.
And the movie is two Americans called Us, but to maybe non-speaking English countries, the movie's called US. So they
exactly, yeah, fucking hell, yeah, of course. And then there's a line in the movie where Winston Duke says to I think he says it to Red, or maybe it's his double, I'm not sure, but he says something like, "Who are you people?" And she just says, "We're Americans." And that's basically what she says. So that's very, like, that's deep, man. That is very deep. It's very smart. It's a very smart film, and it's a great horror movie. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, underlying stuff going on there.
I'd love to see something about. I would love to see like a prequel to this, or a series kind of explaining that whole notion. It's explained to us that the whole reason that the tethered are there is because of, as you say, cloning, some sort of experiment involving cloning, but they're able to clone the body but not the soul, and that's what makes them sort of deranged, wandering souls that have nothing better to do until Red Not Red comes in to lead them all. And that idea of government control, and it's sort of thrown about as conspiracy, but in this movie, what was probably seen as, there probably is somebody out there. You've got the character at the start with the Jeremiah 11:11, who obviously is probably some sort of like conspiracy nut, but we see his tethered later has the 11:11 across his head, and you're just like, well, what's that guy got to say about it all? He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. I think there's a lot to be said there about the truth and the conspiratorial nature of the government controlling everybody, or at least attempting to control everybody, because as we learn, that this experiment failed and it's just left to do its own thing, and they obviously still breed, and within that breeding there somehow seems to be this connection to the above world, because how come they still make exact clones of the children that come from the above world? You know, it's interesting. I think there's more to it than just science. There's maybe some
spooky,
occultiness going on.
I thought you said culture there.
No, damn cultures.
Fucking us here, boys.
Them there cultures be breeding clones out in them hills. Hey.
Fucking inbred bastards. No, that's interesting that you did mention the Jeremiah 11:11. Did anybody look up what that quote is from Jeremiah 11:11?
I can't read.
I didn't either, so it's all right. But it is a quote about obviously it's very sort of apocalyptic or whatever, but I think it's the quote, I don't know the exact wording, but it's about, you know,
I'm gonna find it.
They will be we will come for them, and you know they will be taken down, and we will take over type thing. I don't know the exact wording. Go, Danny, go for it.
It says the first thing, actually, if you look up Jeremiah, the first thing on Google is Jeremiah 11:11. So obviously other people have looked this up too. So it says from the King James Bible, it reads, "Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape, and thou shalt cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them."
In English, please.
To
quote a line of Michael Scott, explain it to me like I'm 5 years old.
I think it's the kind of Rorschach thing, you know, they'll shout for help and I'll say no.
I know that's
that's not the exact quote, obviously.
It's biblical, so it's not, you know, we're not really supposed to know what it means. But yeah, I just love that you see the guy, you see it. He's holding a sign, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
The first time you see him, and then
when you see him in the amusement park, he's just holding the cardboard side that says the Jeremiah 11:11, but is tethered, has the one scratched down his head. And what I love is you see that character then later on when they're doing the Hands Across America thing. You see him standing, smiling with the scars still in his head, and I think I love that. There's again lovely referencing throughout it.
Yeah, well, you know, 11:11, the 4 ones, it's obviously the 4 family members and the 4 tethered, and also the on the alarm clock, it's 11:11 earlier on in the film. I don't know if you've caught this, but I think that's the wee boy looks at the alarm clock or something, and it's stuck, and it's 11:11 is the clock time. So interesting. That must be something that Jordan Peele sort of read or seen or something, and it really sort of stuck with him when he was writing the film. So I love little things like that. But go ahead.
Isn't the phenomenon of seeing 11:11 on a clock? Isn't there a thing about it where you pay significance to it, but realistically there's nothing? It's just we interpret it as humans that there's some significance to it, but it's just that you would see it twice a day.
Mm-hmm. And is it specifically 11:11, or is it any numbers that are doubled?
I think it's any number that's doubled. But I've heard interviews with Jordan Peele before, where he talked about Get Out, and people said, you know, this means something and that means something, and he was like, yeah, if you want it to be.
It's apparently 11 is the master number, and 11:11 is a clear message from the universe to become conscious and aware.
Ooh,
there you are.
Love it, lads, love it. Also, just talking about double numbers, I will never forget this. And Danny, this is weird because you mentioned Jim Carrey earlier on in the episode. Remember that film Number 23 that he did years ago? It was okay. It was about, you know, the 23 number that it always appeared and stuff. I am not shitting you. I went to see that at the AMC, a late show, and I came out of the cinema, and we all walked out of the shit cinema, and I looked at my watch, and it was 23 minutes past 11, but it was 23:23. And fuck, I shit myself. I thought I was going to die on the spot. I'm not joking. That really happened. But it's interesting that you said, Adam, that, you know, when you see those things, you know, you think it's significant, and you think, oh fuck, something's going to happen here. But at the end of the day, it's just a coincidence, and you know, you see it twice a day or whatever. So it's cool. It's cool. But I love that shit. Oh, the master race, Danny.
Nice. Adam, was that your fact, or are you still holding on to your fact?
Still got it. Still got it locked.
Oh
Yes.
Oh, I'm
I
excited.
can't wait for this fact.
I'm really pumped.
I'm really excited. I better be worth it.
I was going to say, it better be good.
So just as you were saying, actually, Adam, about how you said that Jordan Peele, people were asking him, did this mean something? Did it? And he was just like, yeah, it means whatever you think it means. I think, and this is maybe just me being a fucking cinephile or whatever, but I think that everything in the film definitely does mean something. I think it's a throwback to, because he's a massive fan of The Shining. I think that's like one of his favorite films of all time, which again, one of the most overanalyzed films ever. Probably one of those films that has been analyzed so much that people got into film analysis because they've seen documentaries about The Shining, or they've seen people talking about it or writing about it or something, because it has been analyzed so much. And Stanley Kubrick is very, very famous for creating that film with, again, I don't know if he meant to do everything in it, but it's been analyzed so much to the point where people believe that every little thing that's in that film is there for a reason. And I think that Jordan Peele did this as an homage, les tribute to Stanley Kubrick, to The Shining. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures of Jordan Peele during the press tour of Us, but he was cosplaying as Jack Torrance. He's properly wearing the fucking burgundy jacket with the stripy shirt or whatever it is he wears. It is burgundy, isn't it? It's like a maroony burgundy.
He's
jacket.
got it's the lumberjack shirt.
That's the lumberjack,
lumberjack shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the checkered shirt. So he was properly cosplaying as Jack Torrance through much of the press tour. And I think there's another picture of him wearing something from a horror film. I don't know if it's Jack Torrance or if it's something else. I can't remember. I'm sure it'll come to me later on. But I just love that everything is deliberate, and I feel like it's a nod to Stanley Kubrick. Even the opening shot of Us is an overhead shot of the drone or the helicopter, whatever you want to call it, following the car up the windy road, which is the opening shot of The Shining. So, I mean, I know that's a very famous shot in most movies anyway. It's kind of like an to establish the family and the setting and all stuff. But it's, a bit of a coincidence maybe, but I think it's not. I think everything is deliberate. And also, let's talk about the scissors, because obviously the scissors play a huge part of this film. It's the weapon of choice. It's on the poster. It was part of the promotional material before the film was released, and it's a huge thing. And a lot of these horror films, they always try to have something gimmicky, like somebody wearing a mask, or something happening with it, or the weapon of choice, and the scissors are a massive thing in this film, and they're done. That's that's deliberate as well. It's not just, let's just get random big pair of scissors. Scissors are, essentially scissors are like two identical blades that are moving in different directions. So to move them in different directions creates a cut or a separation, which is fucking just what Us is about. So even little things like that, I think it's just, I love it. I love it so much. What do you guys think?
Adam?
Do you like scissors?
I wouldn't run with them.
No, definitely not.
This film's a bad influence. It sets a very bad example for how to handle scissors.
There's I don't know if this will be controversial or talking shit, but I feel like the inclusion of Michael Jackson's Thriller t-shirt is both because he is a black man who then transformed, who then became a white man. There's your duality, but also the fact that it's Thriller, and he was a man who was ostracized into being portrayed as a monster in the press, and also in that music video for Thriller, he is a man who transforms into a monster. I think maybe Jordan Peele was kind of tying that in with Red's character of someone who could be seen as a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a steaming hot take right there.
I dig it. It's not controversial in the slightest. I think that's you're pretty spot on there. And I'm trying to think what year Thriller came out. Was it? I don't know. I can't remember what year it was. But even the costumes that they're wearing, like he wore a red jacket in Thriller, didn't he?
Mhm.
They're all wearing red overalls, and they've all got that one glove. They've only got one glove. They don't have two gloves, so that's clearly a bit of an homage to MJ with the one glove. He should have had it like silver. He had the silver. No, it was a white or silver glove he had. I can't remember, but
Sequin.
yeah, sequins. Yes, loads of sequins on it and stuff. And
I like their one brown leather driver's glove.
yeah, it's a bit of an homage, I think, to Freddy Krueger as well. Obviously, they don't have the blades, but they have the scissors instead. And those scissors are fucking massive. They're like 2 feet long.
Yeah,
I love the sound from the scissors. Every time they move it, it's just like, great sounds from the scissors.
It's such a good sound. I love it. It's the scene whenever the daughter's tether is like on top of the car and she like stabs down into the sunroof. I love that as well, that moment where you're kind of expecting it to be a jump scare whenever he slides back the sunroof. Yes. He slides that back and she's not immediately there, so you're kind of like, whoo, and then next thing the fucking scissors come through and you're also kind of like, Jesus Christ, either she's got fucking some incredible strength or them some sharp ass scissors to like come through a car sunroof.
And she starts, doesn't she, when she goes down, she starts stabbing the front window with them as well. She's great. That wee girl's great. She's fantastic. Really scary. Really scary as her tethered self.
Just even her death scene as well is just like her, we hear she was born laughing, but then she dies laughing too. And just that moment, that kind of the laughter getting like slower and slower and quieter. I
do love powerful stuff, boy. Powerful stuff. I do love how their tethered cells all have gimmicks. I think that's important, and they look different. They have.
Who's your favorite
gimmicks? Interesting. Probably the wee boy's got the best gimmick in terms of he's kind of the most interesting because he's wearing the face mask and he copies everything that the other boy does, everything that Jason does, which ultimately is his demise because he walks back into the flames. But we know that that's a trap anyway. But I don't know, man. I think they're all good. Obviously, Red's the main one, and she's amazing. Like Lupita Nyong'o's amazing in this film.
Incredible.
But I would also say Winston Dukes. Is it
Abraham?
Abraham. There's a bit in this where he's kind of goofy. Obviously, he's massive dude, but none of them speak apart from Red. But there's a scene where, whenever he's on the boat with Abraham and Winston Duke, I can't remember. What's his name? Is it David? What's his actual character's name? I can't remember. But they're on the boat, and he just he doesn't speak. He just sort of like
howls,
and then somebody from the shore howls over to him. I assume it's Red.
No, it's not the daughter because the daughters ran away, or
it's the daughter. You're right.
The daughters ran away, but she's managed to get away. So the tethered daughter is like shouting out, and then he like responds to her with his howling.
They set that up earlier because they told us all that she was a really good runner, like almost that she could train for the Olympics. So they planted the seed early on, as all good films should. And so anyway, so she's running away over the shore and she shouts over. But it reminded me a little bit, as they're barking to each other, of the scene from Jurassic Park when the raptors are like barking. And I was just like, fuck it, we've just got like 2 human raptors here.
I suppose they are predators,
They're animals.
They're out to get their kill. They need to untether themselves. But his name is Gabe, by the way.
Gabe,
not David. I checked there.
Yes.
Gabe. But
it's interesting that you said about how the doppelgängers have to kill themselves, and you said urban legend. That's the kind of story. In this, they don't kill anyone other than their tether. Is that right?
The daughter kills. Remember, the guy comes. She's on top of the car.
Does she kill him? No.
And she cuts him. I think she
cuts his leg. No, I think she goes down.
But then the neighbors, the neighbors don't. Elizabeth Moss's tethered doesn't kill Adelaide's character straight away, but she does go to kill the daughter. But I'm wondering, has Red said to them, the way Red sort of led them all, and she's like, she's mine. Like, do what you want with any of the rest of them, but she's mine. That's the idea I kind of got whenever the Elizabeth Moss tethered doesn't immediately. She's got her chained up. She's got her handcuffed to the bed.
You're right. But then does she try to kill the daughter as well?
Mm-hmm. Remember, she kills him on the bed, and then the son comes in and smacks her on the head with the geode.
Interesting. I just wonder if she was definitely going to actually murder her, or she was just going to maim her. Interesting. But talking about voices there, let's talk about Red and her voices, or her voice for the character of Red, which was very, very reminiscent of a character from a little known Star Wars film called Rogue One. Danny, bugle it,
save the rebellion, save the dream. Yes,
Forrest Whitaker. She is evoking her Forrest Whitaker. Oh my god, it was hilarious. Hilarious, but I mean,
but again, works so well for this. Like Saw Gerrera, whenever he did it, we were all just like, "Wise up, Forrest."
I know.
But in this, it actually works really well. I love how fucking creepy. I love how creepy she is with them, and then when she starts doing, like, when she's communicating with the tethered family. And she's doing like the different wee noises and the wee clicks and stuff. And it's just fucking,
even the way she walks. You know, she's got those wee tiny little footsteps, and she's very straight. And she's like
holding the scissors close to her
chest. It's very.
And...
I don't know what it's like. I don't know. It's just.
It's like it is like a ballerina, because we see, like, as you say at the start, she's kind of tiptoes around the place and she moves with purpose. But then as we get towards the end of the film, she starts kind of demonstrating the dancing, and then she's kind of like dancing around the room as she's fighting with herself. I think it's all her wee moves, everything she does, both physically and mentally, is with purpose, because she's the one leading the whole thing.
I think it's such a disservice that she wasn't recognized by the Academy for this. I know she won some other awards. Like, I think she was definitely nominated for like a Saturn Award, and you know, I'm not sure about BAFTAs, but she's definitely nominated on different award shows, and it's a shame she wasn't recognized for this. But she already won an Oscar anyway a few years before this, so I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she doesn't mind so much.
She apparently stayed in character as Red while they were filming.
Ooh.
Which is probably good, but also annoying if you were like, Lupita, do you want anything from the shop? Just like, need to be a bundle of BPM.
Got a wee lamp set there, love. They're fucking lozenger. I know. Here we're going to get fucking. We're going to go to catering here and get some sandwiches.
Ooh, bring me a rabbit. Raw meat, please. Raw rabbit, please. Man, what is it with Jordan Peele and rabbits?
White rabbits.
I like, because we get at the start of here I go comparing. We get the start of Get Out is the run rabbit, run, and then in this we kind of get the more of a notion of, and I think Get Out kind of has it too, that notion of like Alice in Wonderland, sort of following the white rabbit, going down that trail to the unknown. But this one's particularly on the nose about, you know, even when we go back to no longer Vision Quest, but Forest Quest, and we're going in, and the door that she goes into has a white rabbit painted on it, but then you also have the physical white rabbit standing in front of it, and she goes down in and she descends into this not so Wonderland.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty obvious nod to you know, going down the rabbit hole, which, you know, man, how many times has that been used in films? I do like it, but it's maybe overused a little bit. But also, he was a rabbit in Toy Story. Oh. It's all Toy Story's fault.
It's all Toy Story related. I think, is there not a thing about, is Jordan Peele not afraid of rabbits?
Afraid of rabbits?
I think I've read somewhere before that he's afraid of rabbits, but hold on, I'm going to verify that before I actually commit to it. Let me see.
Here we go. There. A few moments later.
Here we go. It is actually, I had read it. I was right. It's a BBC article on Jordan Peele, Get Out, and Us director reveals why he finds rabbits scary. Let me see.
He must have watched that episode of Creepshow where the big fucking hare. I think it's a hare, isn't it? Yeah. Big evil hare.
Let's see.
Is there a reason why he's scared of rabbits? Did he get bit by a rabbit when he was young, or?
You know what? This is actually interesting. A quote from himself on the fear of doppelgangers is really the fear of self, the fear of that which we suppress as individuals. What is the shadow version of ourselves? We
Maybe he just
hotline
really
it.
likes Peter Pan, and he was like, "Oh, Peter Pan shadow. Let's play with that as well."
Let's go
You
with
know,
that.
but I think, yeah, the film's about doppelgangers. It's about yourself. It's about finding your other self, your shadow, blah blah blah. It's also about childhood trauma. And I think it's about, as the film leads on, you find a little bit more out about Adelaide as a child. And to be honest, when I first saw the film, I kind of guessed the twist. I guessed the twist pretty much straight away. I don't know about you guys. I didn't see the film until it was out a good while after, so I hadn't read anything about it other than I knew it was about doppelgangers. But I pretty much guessed the twist straight away, which I suppose it didn't really ruin the film. But whenever the twist was revealed at the end about them swapping, it wasn't as sort of eye-opening for me, because I was like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, but it wasn't like sort of like, oh my god. I did like the fact that Red in the Hall of Mirrors, the original Red, who turns out to be the Adelaide, choked the young Adelaide, who turns out to be Red, and that's why she's got the Boar Gullet voice.
Yep.
So I like that little twist, and obviously the sort of cloning twist, that I hadn't really thought of that so much. What's up, Danny? You're going to tell us something about rabbits here?
No. Well, I do have the quote about rabbits. I will come back to that in a wee second, but I just want to talk about you say about the scene where we find out that Reg took Adelaide, and we're gonna drop one of our own references right now. That scene, the expression on young Adelaide's face is fantastic. That look of terror, which they've used. I mean, you see it for a lot of the promo shots for this film, is that one particular picture. But with that particular picture is the way it's lit, and also the blue hue that we see. It's lovely. I think it's fantastic, because the whole way as you're going through that house of mirrors, kind of nicely lit the whole way through, and then you start to go into the darker side of the forest, and it's all those blues, those dark blues and stuff, and it's just, yeah, her expression of fear lit with that blue.
It's a really well shot film. It's it reminded me, we spoke about a film a couple of seasons ago, It Follows. Yeah. And funny enough, it's the same DOP from It Follows. Mike Gilakis, I think his name is. So it's really well shot, and it looks beautiful. Lovely lighting. There's a lot of blues in that scene, more sort of reds and stuff, and darkness later on, and then
lovely focuses.
Yeah,
lovely focuses.
I love the shot later on whenever Red is explaining, the monologue at the end, and you see Red close up, and then you see Adelaide at the back. That's a beautiful shot.
I think why that scene you're talking about, the way I look at it is, it's almost like something from a samurai movie. You kind of got her monologuing, and you've got Adelaide in the back, but the way she's holding that fire poker, like this, full on samurai style, and her, she's still got the handcuffs on, and I didn't know, there was just something about that rewatching it again today. I was just like, that's some fucking samurai shit right there, and I love it.
Adam, you'll know, you're a filmmaker, obviously. Split diaper shot, it's called. It was made famous. Obviously, loads of people have done it over the years. It's a very famous shot, and it's a beautiful shot for cinematography. But it was used a lot in Kari, and Brian De Palma uses it a lot throughout his career. I think he was one of the directors that kind of really pushed it to the forefront a lot. It's kind of one of his little tropes that he likes to use. But yeah, I like seeing it. I love just seeing it the odd time in films. I don't like when it's overused too much. But it's really nice in this. Danny, did you have a fact about a rabbit there?
I have the quote.
Oh, the quote. Let's go.
So Jordan Peele says on rabbits, "I'm not afraid of them, but I do find them scary," he confesses. "They're very cuddly, but they also have a sociopathic expression, and they kind of look past you in a creepy kind of way. Not the biggest brains, rabbits." So that's Jordan Peele's take on rabbits.
It's a bit unfair. It's not their fault they don't have big brains.
Alright. Yeah,
I have a fact. It's not my fun fact, but I have
Oh.
a fact
Is
that
it-
Jordan Peele's father was actually Elmer Fudd.
That's class.
Is that true?
You can fact check it if you want. It's true.
Does Jordan Peele have a lisp?
Does he have a list?
Did he get a lisp from his father, Elmer Fudd? I don't know.
His sense of dress, of course.
Of course, yes. So yeah, I love that. I didn't know that he was afraid of rabbits.
Yes.
That's interesting. So we could expect to see more rabbits in his future films then.
Possibly.
So obviously the film starts out, we said it's quite a conventional structure. You have a flashback at the start, you have, establishing the main characters, you follow them about a bit, you get a little bit of like, ooh, what's going on here type thing. And then whenever they obviously go to the vacation home, the main character starts to react to that for some reason, so something's happening, and then it all kicks off. It plays out like a home invasion movie first, something very similar to Strangers, the Strangers, and then after that, it turns actually quite similar to It Follows, where they're sort of stalking their characters, and they're sort of stalking the characters basically, and very much so. They're basically following in this very slow motion type way, and then it sort of goes a bit kind of batshit crazy when you realise that Elizabeth Moss and her husband also have doppelgängers, and then that's when, as I said earlier, that's when the film really opens up and you go, what the fuck is this? But I love that scene when all hell breaks loose in that lovely big, here we go with the fun fact.
Is this the moment?
I have to stop because Adam is ready for this fun
The
fact. Let's go.
moment has arrived.
The Elizabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker's daughters in the movie are twins, but the actresses that play those twins are the actresses that played Ross and Rachel's baby Emma on Friends.
Oh, there we go. Fact. Super fun fact.
And
What is
scene.
the link? How does one link Friends to us? We have just got it. Who'd have thunk it?
There you go. That's amazing. What a fact that is. That is a brilliant
Yeah.
fact. I had no idea. Class. That's it. Right. See you later, lads. You can finish it. That's it. Done. Episode finished. Season 5. Season 4 finished. We can't beat that. Fuck. That's
Good
a great fact. I love.
Good
I love in that chaotic scene where all hell breaks loose and everyone dies and they have the big fights and it's fucking madness. I love the twins that you're talking about. Another throwback to The Shining, a clear throwback to The Shining. But the way that they die is that whenever they fall down, their bodies look exactly the same as the Grady twin bodies do in the flashback scenes in The Shining. And I fucking love that. Like, I just thought that was such a cool little throwback to The Shining, obviously. But let's talk about one of the funniest moments in the movie is whenever Elizabeth Moss' character is crawling away and she realizes that Ophelia, who's a bit like Alexa, has turned the music off or something. They were listening to Beach
Is it
Boys.
she shouted stop? Because what is it? She's
Yes.
trying to stop them from
That's it.
attacking her. And it's when she reaches out, when Elizabeth reaches out to her husband's tether, and he goes to put the hand out, and then it just goes ah.
I know.
And it fucking I don't know why, but that killed me. Like it was just
So
sort of.
They're not robots. They've got personality.
They've got a bit of person, but again,
They're
it's one of
cheeky
those things-
cunts.
all the like influence, because we've obviously got the Hands Across America thing, the Thriller thing, the Michael Jackson-esque influence in their dress. Are they all just influenced by like 80s pop culture like that? Their whole thing seems very kind of Fonzie sort of.
Well, I think obviously Jordan Peele grew up. He was an 80s kid, so a lot of that movie is as a throwback to his childhood, which would have been in the 80s.
Yep.
But obviously the line that I'm about to hit is call the police, and then it plays NWA's Fuck the Police, which is just, I wasn't expecting that, and when that dropped the first time I seen it, I was cackling. I thought it was fucking amazing. Also, a little bit of a thing there, he says that the police are 14 minutes away. and then the police don't actually show up.
But again, are they being harassed by their own tethered?
Yeah, because everybody has a tethered version. That's the whole thing.
We see in the news report just after the whole showdown with the tethered Elizabeth Moss family. We see they're watching the news, aren't they? And they're seeing the live reports of all the tethered joining hands, and some sort of the dad says, is it some sort of fucked up performance art.
He says that it would, it would take a lot to scale up, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another little fucking thing. We talked briefly about the song "I Got Five on It" by Loonies. There's a little bit more to that than just the fact that he was a fan of that song at the time, and it was a big song in his life. The opening line of that song is "Creep on in." Creep on in, and that's obviously interesting, but that apparently, and I don't know how much truth there is to this story, but apparently that was co-written, the hook for that was co-written by a guy called Michael Marshall, who never got any credit for it at all. He claims that he never received any sort of credit for writing it, and he never received any money for it at all. Obviously it went on to be a very famous song, especially at this time, and in America especially. But so he has been forgotten, which is, very, ironic, because he was a tethered, essentially. He was forgotten, much like the tethered are in this film. So there's another little hidden meaning why he used that song. And when that plays at the end during the final dance or fight scene, it's just great, man. It works so well. It's edited really well, and the actual fight at the end, which is more like a dance, because they're both dancers. They both did ballet or whatever when they were a child. If it didn't have that music, and if it wasn't edited the way it was, and also edited against the sort of flashback scene, so it's kind of telling you two stories there, it would have been maybe it would have come across as being a bit naff, the way they're moving and stuff, and they're not quite hitting each other, and it's a bit naff. It's like that wouldn't actually happen, but I think it works really well. It's edited really well, and it helps with the reveal at the very end. What do you guys think?
It's whenever the start of it starts off with just mostly like the strings, but then you start getting that more kind of orchestral oomph behind it, and just when that hits, you're like, oh. We've sort of discussed, we mentioned last week's episode for Shaun of the Dead how important music is to a score and how effective music can be, and obviously for Shaun of the Dead it is just a case of needle dropping the song, but this year's we get those needle drops with the likes of NWA's Fuck the Police and with the Pet Shop Boys, and we do have I Got Five on It earlier on in the film, but then to have it come back but played in this fashion, like completely reorchestrated to be more of a orchestral piece, is powerful.
You mentioned our last episode, our Shaun of the Dead episode, which was our 50th episode.
50th, yay!
So just a little reminder, please go back and watch that episode and push that. That'd be really nice. 50 fucking episodes. Crazy.
Mad. Here we are, 51.
I know, 51. Here's the another 50.
Thanks for joining us for 51, Adam.
I know. So anyway, other than what some of the scenes that we've already talked about, what kind of scenes would you think was the best scenes? We've pretty much spoken about most of the main scenes. I quite like Winston Duke's character, Gabe. I think he's really funny. He's not like super comedic, but he plays it like just a normal dad, like just a normal guy, and he plays a lot of the scenes really just simplistic, but they're effective.
Yeah, I think his moment when he goes out to kind of confront the house invaders, and he kind of changes tact and tries to come out and be a bit more kind of stereotypical, like what you doing around these parts sort of attitude. I think that's fantastic, because that's not who he is. He, as you say, he is just like typical dad. And then he tries to play up, and in trying to play up, he ends up getting his leg broke. So,
well, he initially just goes out and he's like, "Come on, guys, come on," and then he realizes, "Fuck, what's going on here? Something's mad," and he goes out and he has to protect his family. He's the man in the house, and even when he's doing it, you can still tell it's a really, really good nuanced performance from Winston Duke, because you can still tell when he's doing it. Like little things like when he's just pushing up his glasses, the nervousness in his words when he's saying it. He doesn't want to do it, but he's like, I'm going to fucking beat you up, lads, and then, yeah, he gets his fucking ankle broke, doesn't he? And the scene in the boat's pretty good. He gets his moment on the boat. What other scenes do you think it's kind of like some of the better scenes that you would, or the most memorable scenes?
Adam?
There's the actual scene where Elizabeth Moss gets killed. It's kind of a accumulation of the themes from the start of the movie, where Adelaide and Winston Duke, what's his name again?
Gabe.
I just think of Gabe from The Office, and I'm like, no, sickly thin. They are kind of like an upper class black family that a lot of black people in America would say are white black people. They're trying to achieve the same kind of like respect as the Tim Heidecker family, where I got a boat because he has a boat, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying to give that voice of like, oh, we're all the same.
Yeah.
Whereas,
did you see that car he got? He's rubbing it in that whole moment. Yeah.
But when it comes to the death of Elizabeth and Tim Heidecker, it's the breakdown of their reliance on technology and their richness and the luxuries they have in life. And the most ironic thing is that whenever she is asking for help from the police in a probably mostly white neighborhood, they play the anthem of the black generation in the 90s who couldn't get help from the police by saying fuck them.
Exactly. I mean, that song was written as a retort to all the violence that happened, and it's ironic. It's very ironic, and it's smart. Of course, it was written. It's deliberate, and I also like how at the start Elizabeth Moss mentions how she got a little bit of work done, just a little bit of work done, and then she takes the scissors to her face as well. I thought it was cool. But yeah, that whole sequence in that house, it's the house of glass. It's got the glass windows the whole way up, so you can pretty much see right into it. That's just great scene, great sequence from then on out. It's you've got your heart's racing. It kind of doesn't stop for a long time after that.
It's also your first inkling that Adelaide isn't exactly who she says she is, and her son also seeing that she's not the person he thinks his mother is.
When she kills her, yeah. It's quite subtle, I think, but they definitely leave a few hints there.
Mm-hmm.
I love the scene, and again, it's just because it's an homage to Jaws. The scene at the start where they're on the beach, and the kids are just playing, and then Jason fucks off, and he sees the old man. That's where he sees the old man doing the hands for America, whatever it's called.
Hands Across America.
Hands Across America, yeah. But I love how when he walks away, he just goes to the bathroom, whatever, and then you get that kind of tribute to Jaws, where it's it's just that quiet beach scene, and she's looking around for the kid. I just love it. I don't know why. It's very simple. There's nothing to it, but I just love it. Danny, what about you? Any scenes that we haven't mentioned that you want to mention?
We made mention to it, but I think there's more sort of to it. Is Pluto's death scene. I think that's a fantastic moment, because I think there is something about Pluto whenever he first takes the sun into the cupboard, and he's trying to get him to do the like sparkler magic trick, and it's obvious, it was sort of explained to us that he's obsessed with fire, but we then find out whenever he lifts up the mask that he's actually suffered like very severe burns. And in that moment, I'm kind of like, is it that he's obsessed with fire, or is he actually? And we see whenever he reacts to the sparks that he's actually scared, he withdraws away. And you're like, is there more to this character? I don't know. There was something in me that thought a lot of the time that Pluto would maybe be like redeemed or would turn on the family or just something. And then that scene whenever he's standing and Adelaide walks up to him, and I was like, this is going to be a moment. He's going to turn, something's going to happen. And he pulls the match out, and we see the gasoline, and the son said it's a trap, and gets out and then puts the arms out. And then when I first watched the film, I actually thought he was putting his arms out because he was going to get Pluto to hug the mum and see that there was like a motherly comfort care there. But then he starts to walk backwards, and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, oh shit. Like, it completely changed what I thought was going to happen. I thought there was something about Pluto that made him then different from the rest of the Tethered. And I just think Pluto seemed like quite an interesting wee character, apart from this like scarpering around little pyromaniac. But yeah, it just turns out he was just like the rest of them. But the fact that him and I can't remember the son's name off the top of my head, but the fact that him and Jason have such a real strong bond that Pluto has to mirror everything that Jason. All the rest of them don't seem to mirror quite as much, but they have like this stronger bond, and it's maybe because they're younger or something, I don't know. But even then later on we see in the flashback when young Red is like going along the corridors and stuff, and all those people imitating what's going on in the fairground, but they're really just like punching a wall instead and doing whack-a-mole.
The roller coaster, the
roller coaster is fucking ridiculous.
It is. I mean, that is interesting. That scene in class when he walks back into the flame, it looks gorgeous as well. The fucking flame.
It's when Red appears from the side of the car. Like, you don't notice her until her head turns, and you're just like, what the fuck? Oh.
She just scarpers out and grabs Jason, fucks off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, great scene. And then what I do feel like the end. You talked about, you would like to see a prequel or something to explain it. I don't really want anything explained.
No, it's not even that I want anything explained, because I think Peele understands that notion of that we don't need to know all the answers. I think that's a great thing, and we love that. We love that ambiguity. But just, I don't know, just a wee something, doesn't even have to go into any great detail, but just like what else? What kind of could he feed into the conspiracy of it all? That I think that would be quite sweet to see.
I like that. They don't really explain. I mean, they do a little bit, and that's one of the flaws of this film. And there's not many flaws, but whenever the Red has her monologue at the end, it kind of stops the movie. It stops the flow of the movie. I know you have to have it. But it's a little bit, although I did love that split shot, it does kind of stop the movie. It stops the momentum of the movie. And I don't usually like that in a film, where you go through all this mystery stuff and then at the end you just have somebody explain it just to the character, and obviously through the character to the audience. So I don't usually like that, and I think it definitely did stop the momentum of the movie. But yeah, I don't really want anything explained. You're going to be asking about, oh, well, how do they get clothes, and how do they get the identical clothes, and how do they, I know they eat the rabbit meat and stuff, but like, surely, how do they exist? Like, where do they, you said about earlier about how do they have children, and, why do the children exist in the identical form whenever they weren't cloned? Or were they, we don't need to know all them explanations, but yes, it is a question. It gives you a resolution, but it makes you ask more questions.
What about that scene where they walk past like the dining hall where all the people are like eating raw rabbit, but very obviously like killing the live ones, and all those were like wee rabbit screams? I was like, this is upsetting me. Anything with that, you know what? Kill as many people as you want, but don't fuck with the animals.
I know that's one of our.
That's our thing.
Don't kill animals.
No, we don't dig it.
But yeah. So, what did you guys think of the ending? Like, I know it is a twist, and it's the revelation, the big revelation that the characters switched when they were children, and then I think it is cool because it shows you the flashback of the parents and speaking to the therapist, and the child realizes, the real Red realizes that she has to mimic. She has to start learning if she wants to survive here. She's going to have to try to pretend to be the real daughter, and she starts dancing, and eventually she starts speaking, and she lives her life. But it's interesting because asks another question about, does she know that she's this person? Does she have the memory of this, or does she just get to a point where she's forgotten about that? It's that whole childhood trauma that I mentioned earlier, where when you're a child and bad things happen to you, you sort of suppress the memories. Does she really suppress the memories? There's a wee smile at the end when she looks at Jason in the car. So she obviously realizes there, and she knows, but has she always known? What do you guys think about that? Because they don't actually explain that.
I don't really know. It's an ambiguous ending. I kind of just took it on face value that she did already know, and the smile was that one last secret she had from her past is now gone. She's nothing else to worry about, because she was worried about going to the beach at the beginning of the movie. Like, she didn't want to, in the off chance that something like this might happen, and be like, oh, this is going to fuck up my secret life that I've had. Now everything's out in the open, so she doesn't have to worry anymore, and she finally can smile.
It was interesting whenever they first go to the house and she's looking out the window and Winston Duke is lying in the bed waiting to get his dick sucked. And he's like, come on. And she's like, no, we have to leave. And then that's when you first get the explanation about, oh, when I was a child, I came here and I wandered off. I got lost and I saw another girl that looked like me. And you think she's talking about the actual Adelaide that we see at the start of the movie, but she's actually talking about herself. So yeah, maybe she did know this whole time. It's interesting. You can take it from both sides, and I love that. And that's why Jordan Peele is a fantastic writer and a fantastic filmmaker, because we all love mysteries. We just love the mystery box, and it's great. And I cannot wait for his next film, which is out next year. We spoke briefly about. It's called Nope, which is just a fucking amazing title. I love it. I don't even care. I don't want to know anything about it, but we'll throw a few theories out there. There's been a poster released, which has got a lovely blue hue. Blue hue. But I love it because I haven't really dissected the poster. It's been a while since I've seen it. I've seen it when it first came out a few months ago. But it gave me kind of Amblin E.T. vibes, like real sort of, I don't know.
It's the X-Files poster. It's the X-Files I Want to Believe poster.
Is it like a crater?
Is it not? The cloud?
What is the poster? It's like a cloud, and then there's balloons hanging from something that are waving. They're not balloons, like what do you call it? Bunting. Sorry, there's like bunting coming through the cloud, and then there's a huge crater that has some like houses. So I assume that's a small village that has been built inside this.
There's like, what's that there? But yeah, is
it a crater, or did I just make that up?
No, well, it looks to be in a crater surrounded by mountains, and then there's a field, and then there's bunting coming from the cloud. You know what it is? That's not a cloud at all. That's a wee fluff ship, and it's full of alien rabbits, and they're going to come down.
Just a wee fluff.
And that's Jordan Peele's response to the idea of alien rabbits. Nope.
So, what's our thoughts? Have we had any thoughts on this? What would you like to see next from Jordan Peele? Adam, go ahead.
Danny, if you actually look at the poster on your phone there, I actually have it up here. If you look in the bottom corner and zoom in, you can see there's a secret like character. I have it here.
He's hiding in the forest. He's got his gun.
We're hunting for rabbits.
I don't know what Nope is going to be about. I'm excited that he's working with Stephen Yeun. I think he, since leaving The Walking Dead, has just been fantastic. He is great in Mayhem.
Minari was.
Yes, yeah. Minari as well last year. I can't remember the guy that directed Mayhem. Adamson. Can't remember
a few moments later.
But I really enjoyed that movie with Samara Weaving.
Yeah, Samara Weaving. She's great. She's fucking great.
But it's Jordan Peele. I'll watch it. Like, I watched his Twilight Zone, and even though a lot of it wasn't that great, there was some really good standout stuff. Lovecraft Country was good, and I was a big fan of Candyman this year as well.
Mm-hmm. And I hope that they just release one trailer and don't show anything else, because I think this modern day sort of trend of releasing 3 or 4 trailers that are all 3 minutes long, showing actual scenes or extended footage from scenes, I don't like it. I don't, just give me a trailer that has just splicey, and let us put our things together, you know, and we'll go and see the film and we'll fucking love it. And I love that. And I have my own theories that I did write on my own Twitter when I first saw the poster. People were talking about aliens. That seems to be like the main theory, because there is definitely a creator there, and that would be something else. That
are we going to get his homage to Close Encounters?
Close Encounters was another one. Yeah, it's E.T., Amblin, you know, that whole vibe. But I think it will be Wizard of Ozzy, in the sense that it might be like sort of dreamscapey. You know, he might go back to his Elm Street roots. He's a huge fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, so he might learn from dreamscapes. And I think it might be parallel universe type thing. I don't know. It's interesting. I hope he doesn't go down, you know, we know he won't go down the sort of just, it won't just be one basic idea. There'll be something else surrounding this. We might think it's about aliens, but it might be something else. So yeah, really excited about Nope. Can't wait. It's coming out next year. As always, leave your comments in the comment section below. What's your theories on Nope? Do you like Jordan Peele? Are you a fan of his work? Do you enjoy Us? And did you enjoy Get Out? Do you think Elmer Fudd is Jordan Peele's father? But yeah, so leave your comments below. Anything else, guys, that you want to say? We need to wrap this up because this has went on for longer than I expected.
Adam, you want to drop your socials and where else to find your work?
Yeah, you can find me at Adam Neeson on Twitter and Instagram, and Mr. Adam Neeson on YouTube.
Oh, you're Mr.
I just need to be an official. And of course, OnlyFans.
Yeah. We'll drop your OnlyFans link in the description below. And
it's all cosplay of me. It's Elmer Fudd.
Do you have a big shotgun? Do you have a big gun?
Jesus.
Love it. So that's all we've got time for this week. All 3 of us big fans of Jordan Peele, and we loved Us. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Monday Night Frights. As usual, check us out on social media at the Fright Club NI on Twitter and Instagram, and you can check us out on the website as well. It's www.thefrightclubni.com. Buy a t-shirt and a patch. And if you like this video, then please subscribe. And if you have subscribed already, please hit that like and share and comment and tell all your friends and all that good shit. We just did our 50th episode last week, which we're very proud of to get this far. We're just a couple of ghoulies from Northern Ireland that decided to just talk about horror films on a weekly basis, and it's amazing that we've actually done 50 episodes. Because
who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it? Because yeah, a lot of times we plan things and they don't turn out the way we planned it.
Who'd have thought we got our finger out in this one, eh?
I know, it's fucking mental, but yeah, quite proud to get this far so far anyway. So hopefully here's to another 50. Stay safe, take care, guys. All the best. Bye.
Bye.